Good morning, everyone, and thank you for joining us for this morning's sales presentation brought to you by the MEI Corporation. This is Nikki from HDA Truck Pride, and we are joined this morning by Scott Landreth, who's going to take us through about a 30-minute presentation from MEI. Want to remind everyone that you are on mute, so if you have a question or you need anything throughout the 30 minutes, please use the chat button or the Q&A button that's at the bottom of your screen. Within the Zoom application. Those questions will come to me, and I'll monitor all of those as we go. We will ask questions live at the end of the broadcast, so be sure to stay tuned to the end. We'll go through all of those questions live with Scott. Also want to remind you that this session is being recorded, so you can see at the bottom of his slide the HDA Truck Pride University logo. All of the recordings will be posted there within 24 hours, so this time tomorrow, you'll be able to access today's. This is the start of week 5 of these training sessions. So every morning at 11 o'clock Eastern time, we are doing a sales presentation. And every afternoon at 3 o'clock Eastern time, we're doing a technical presentation. MEI already did their technical one 2 weeks ago, Monday. So that is in the library for you. I'll also be sending out an updated schedule. So if you're looking for the recording link, you can use the master schedule as well. Along with the recording links on the schedule, it also has the registration button for any of the webinars coming up. So this afternoon, we will have a technical presentation from Dana, and tomorrow we will have a sales presentation from Fontaine and a technical presentation from TechTran. We are joined this morning by Scott Landreth, who is the National Sales Manager for MEI Corporation. And at this point, I will turn it over to you, Scott.
Thank you, Nikki. Appreciate it. Thank you all for joining today. Appreciate every one of you guys. Thank you to HDA Truck Pride for organizing this, Nikki, for getting it all active and live. And we really appreciate the opportunity here to reach out to the members and do a little sales webinar as well as a technical webinar that we did a couple weeks ago. So thank you for lining this up. You know, we want to let you guys know that HDA, you guys are all very important to MEI. We've been doing business for many, many years, and we are the premier heavy-duty AC supplier to the group. And we just wanted to let you guys know that we appreciate you guys. And as we go through these changing times, we want to let you guys know that we're here for you guys and here to support in any way we can. Jumping into the webinar for today, I wanted to discuss some of the topics that we're going to try to cover here. The first one I want to go over, guys, is really why MEI, why our product line, what differentiates our line against any other lines that you guys might be competing against, and why you inherently, if what makes MEI different makes you guys different when you go to market. So we're going to talk a little bit about that. We're going to discuss an action plan, something goes by the term learn, plan, sell. We want to educate you guys on the program and then in turn allow you guys to educate your customers. We want to plan our attack and make sure we get it out into the market. Another topic we want to discuss is a little bit more detailed approach when it comes to individual part numbers. We'll talk a little bit about a handful of focus parts that we want to mention for you guys. And then we'll lastly clean it up with sales tools and support, some online tools that we offer you all. And we want to show you guys how to utilize that as you guys approach your marketplace. So why should customers buy MEI? Why should they be buying your AC line from us? Well, one thing to know that's very, very important is that MEI, we really focus on being a one source for first fit parts, okay? So all badges, all makes, most models, all right here to allow you guys to go to market with a true all makes HVAC program, okay? And that's very important, is we want you guys to know that this isn't, you know, mainly one OE, mainly 1 year make model type of application or program. This really truly allows you guys to really present yourself to your market and your customers as an all makes one source option. So how do we go to market? What is our program? What does it consist of? And why is that important for you all? Well, as you see here, we kind of do a mock supply chain. A lot of you guys that are familiar with HVAC will know the name brands of Valio, Sandin, Bearhella, just to name a few. We show a few others there on the screen. So we will actually source those first fit products, put it together in our programs for you all. You all then have access to over 4,000 part numbers, which again allow you guys to be that all makes, all models option for your customers. So what we really want to try to eliminate is a customer's thought of, hey, an end user's thought, if you will, of, hey, I need to go to this location for this part or this location for that one. We really want you all to be able to present a program that will allow you all to be the one-stop shop for your customers when it comes to HVAC. And I think it's important to note that those are first fit brands. These are OEM brands, okay? So what do we sell? Well, just to give a little example here, we're going to talk right here on this slide about compressors. You know, you can kind of talk the same, maybe a little bit about some other product groups within the program, but we really want to focus on compressors on this slide to kind of explain the options that you all have available to you and inherently your customers have available to them. So as we go through here, on most of your compressor options, okay, you will have multiple options. What we pride ourselves on, we'll have the OEM equipment grade. So if it's a Sandin compressor, you'll have the 7H15 Sandin models, the OEM Sandin compressors. The same compressors that came on the truck as it was going down the manufacturing line, okay? On many options, we'll also have a professional grade. This professional grade can be an aftermarket style, but it is a very high quality, high grade alternative option to an OEM Sandin, let's say. And then if your sales opportunity drives this and it makes it a necessity to look at an aftermarket option, well, guys, we will also have that available to you. So as you see here, you can have 3 options that will allow you to present your customer with whatever solution they need and allow you guys to compete apples to apples with whatever you're competing against in your marketplace, okay? So again, you'll have the OEM grade compressors, your professional grade, followed by your aftermarket grade option. So that's 3 options, okay? One thing to note on here is you see under the OEM Sandin, you'll see the standard 7H15, which is very, very popular. It's what you all have seen and sold in the marketplace for many, many years. The other option you'll see on there is what we call super heavy duty. So starting in around 2008 and later is when you're actually going to start seeing the super heavy duty models. So on a lot of your more recent trucks, you'll start to see that SHD option, which there's a few differences. We'll get into every single one of those right now. But what it will allow you guys to do is to know which compressors are available to you guys and what Sandin is bringing as far as an OEM option. We will have both of those available to you. So right now I want to focus on how is HVAC different? You know, some people on here today, you may not sell currently HVAC. A lot of you probably do. And we want to really explain to you all how is HVAC different, let's say, other than brake shoes, drums, you know, things of that nature. How is it different, okay? So when we look at parts purchasing, right now, most every distributor out there is bringing brake shoes, drums, you know, clutch, lubricant, starter alternators, batteries, so on and so forth. But there's some of you out there that really steer away from HVAC, okay? And really, is that today's problem? Or, guys, is this an opportunity? Because some people can kind of be intimidated, if you will, by HVAC. It is a little bit different product line. We'll get into that here in a second, okay? But you could say the same thing about fleets. Your customers, they're buying brake shoes and brake drums constantly. They're educated very well on those product lines. HVAC, they're buying it, but it might be something that they don't have as much knowledge on as, say, some of these other product lines. So let's talk about how is HVAC different. Well, let's talk about we're not dealing existing inventory in many cases. So whether you're a fleet or a distributor, you know, you may have a handful of part numbers for other product groups and lines, but when it comes to HVAC, there's multiple. And in many cases, you might be carrying one part number of a brake drum that fits multiple applications. That can happen a little bit in HVAC, but a lot of times there's a lot more part numbers involved. And again, is that today's problem, or is that an opportunity where other distributors are really steering away from that? Or if they're in it, they may not be as well versed in it. Is that an opportunity for you guys to shine by really getting that information to market and understanding HVAC from start to finish? It's also considered in many cases proprietary or almost unmarketable. And really, that's a misnomer. That's a misconception, guys. A vast majority of the HVAC parts are not proprietary. It is intimidating because it is a very technical line, okay? And we're here to support you guys and bring you guys up to speed with that side of it, so you can be quote-unquote experts in your market. We want you all as HDA Truck Pride members to be known as the HVAC guys in your respective marketplaces, okay? So really, this is an opportunity because there are people that steer away from it when you guys don't have to do that because you have our support. Number 3, limited segment knowledge and risk. Again, because it's kind of an intimidating line and because it's very technical, a lot of people steer clear of it. Or customers will come to them. They will come to distributors, and you know what? They will just, as the opportunities come to them, then they will seek out information on the back end to help fulfill their customers' needs. Where we want you guys to really focus on is to be experts in advance, be proactive. We'll show you the tools that will enable you guys to do that so that you guys can help push the product and it's not just being pulled by your customers through your inventory. We really want you guys, again, to take advantage of this opportunity. It is not a problem. It is truly an opportunity for you guys. So when we look at fleet and customer existing inventory, look at these industry part numbers. You know, this is just an average. This isn't, this isn't 100% isolated to one or the other distributor or fleet. But when we look at it, you may see a fleet or distributor utilizing maybe a handful of brake shoes for their trucks, 3 brake drums, a clutch, a few different lubricant numbers, 2 battery parts that they actually stock and are familiar with. But when it comes to HVAC, that same fleet may have 25 different air conditioning part numbers that they need to be able to have access to, or even many cases stock. So again, it's very different as it relates to other product lines that many of you are currently selling. So it requires a sales team that is very knowledgeable and is really able to communicate to the customer what they need and what you all have available to them. So what's your competitive edge out there? Well, first off, you have access to our full line, which is over 4,000 HVAC part numbers, most of which truly is first fit products, okay? And that's very important. Do you need the aftermarket options to compete? Well, guess what? We've got that as well. But you guys really have an advantage with the sheer coverage that our product line enables you guys to have. And really, your competition out there in many cases is clueless, right? Okay, so they're going to market with a limited program, or they're just stocking a handful of numbers and they don't truly understand it. Well, we have the support tools that enable you guys to really have a leg up on your competition. Give you the tools to go out there in front of your customers, gather the information so that you can present a targeted program, okay? We want you to be able to build customer profiles that allow you to plan your approach so you can go after that new business, and that's really, really important here. So how do we do that? How are we going to help you all do that? It's something that we even use internally. We're going to call it Learn, Plan, Sell, okay? It really is an all-makes approach to your business, and I really challenge you guys now more than ever to really go through some of these steps with your outside salesman, and any outside salesman on the call right now, I really challenge you to gather the data that we're going to discuss here and go after your customer base and be very proactive and aggressive. So we'll talk right now about the learn part of this. Well, the learn is to evaluate not just the products that we offer, but evaluate your customers and the opportunities. Who has those out of warranty trucks? How many trucks do they have? What type of trucks? What year, make, model? What type of engine? Okay, so really, it's never too late, but here we are in May. Ideally, we'd love to do this in early spring, but again, it's never too late. So what you first want to start out doing is go around and understand your customers. Find out, let's say it's a fleet, how many trucks they have. Do they have, 5 Peterbilts and 10 Freightliner Cascadias and this, that, and the other? Well, we want to gather that data. Okay, then we want to match our products to those customers and the specific products that fit those applications that they have. So again, we want to prepare an action plan. okay? We want to focus on those out-of-warranty trucks, okay? That's our opportunity. Then we want to identify the product, the place, develop some form of a promotion for you guys to go to the field with, and then obviously you have to develop your price. Again, never hurts to simply ask and get that data. And then the last part is going to be sell. So you want to engage your customers to understand their current program. We want to ask the right questions, find out who they're currently buying from, find out what's important to them, find out why they're buying from their current supplier, if it's not you, obviously. And we want to demonstrate our value proposition, not just MEIs. When I say MEI, I also mean you guys. You guys are an extension with this product line. So what is the value that you can offer your customer? And simply, guys, a salesman's rule, always ask for that business, long or short term. You always want to ask for it and keep asking for it, okay? So what type of customers are really prime for our product line? Well, we'll talk about 4 main ones here. We've got general repair shops, okay? Guys, those are ones that work on various makes and models of truck and equipment. They may or may not do HVAC right now. That's why we want to find out. One of the questions we want to ask. And we want to know, do they have any certified AC technicians? Okay, that would be your general service shops. The second would be fleets. You know, can they buy from approved vendor only? Do you have to be an approved vendor? You need to identify the types of truck and equipment they have. We discussed that. I'll show you that tool in 1 second. We want to target those out of warranty trucks. We want to gather the unit number, make, model. All of that data will allow us to present a targeted approach. And what do they keep on hand as far as inventory? Do they rely on you all as distributors to have it on your shelf, or do they stock any themselves? We'll also want you guys to look and know about specialty accounts. Maybe it's mobile service techs, those guys out there on the road, or maybe it could be a small OE manufacturer. That's another opportunity for this HVAC product line. And then lastly, we'll talk about municipalities. Okay, again, approved vendors only, yes or no? We got to find that out. And then we need to find out what kind of truck equipment that they use. So maybe it could be anywhere from, could be school buses, it could be a city, it could be multitude of different opportunities with municipalities, but we also want to find out what do they keep on hand. So when you go into these customers, what information, what questions do we need you guys asking? Okay, well, if we want to understand how to get their HVAC business, we've got to ask at minimum these 5 questions, okay? Number 1, well, do you even do AC service and repair? A lot of you guys will know your customers, but if it's a new prospect you're not familiar with, we got to ask that question. Do you do AC service and repair? The second one is, can you estimate the amount that you spend on AC in a season? We need to understand this opportunity. You know, how large of an opportunity could this be? And then we want to understand of that opportunity, what is it made up of? Do they prefer OEM parts or are they aftermarket driven? Remember, we've got both in the offering, but we need to know what to quote them when we gather this data. The fourth one is, do you have any current issues or problems sourcing AC parts currently? That could be a supplier issue. It could be an inventory issue. We need to find that out. Okay, that'll help us build our value proposition to them. And the last one that we want to talk about is, who's your first call for AC parts? Of course, we want that to be you all. You all want to be that first call. Okay, so those are 5 questions that we would like to see you guys ask when you're out in the field and have your team ask. So once we have that data, how do we apply value to your customers with our program? Well, guys, the big one, and we kind of alluded to it earlier, is we're one supplier. You guys can be one supplier. You can develop one price level for them. That's one brand, MEI, to your customers, one part numbering format with no problems. So again, we make it very simple. We're in a convenience-driven time period right now as an industry and really across the board as people. So we want to present that convenience to your customer will allow them to make their decision much easier on who they're going to buy their HVAC parts from. So if you look at someone like this, whether it's Kenworth, International, Freightliner, Volvo, like a Swift or some other large fleet, right? You can present as one supplier for them or another large fleet, obviously, that has multiple OEs, okay? Because we actually cover all of those make and models. Same thing here with waste management, okay? Whether it's Pete or Mac or Freightliner, whomever, right? We present options for each one of these different OEs that make up this fleet. Okay, so you guys can be, again, you could be a one-source option for that opportunity. And I think that's a big asset for you guys. So let's talk a little bit more detail when it comes to HVAC, and I think it'll bring some context here on what we really want you all focusing on within the product line initially. So as we look at this, guys, there's all these main product groups, okay? Blower motors, compressors, condensers, evaporators, expansion valve, and dryer. And there's one on here that really is the highest cost. That's compressors. Okay, well, that's great. Okay, we need to start there for sure. Okay, well, which one of these product groups do people usually have the least amount of knowledge on? Again, that's compressors. And which one is usually messed up upon installation? Again, that's compressors. And we show this slide because we want you guys to understand that compressors is really the linchpin. All right, if we can get compressor business, it's going to drag other AC parts off your shelf. So when we go into an opportunity, we're not just going to quote blower motors. We want to quote blower motors, compressors, and other product lines. And if you guys can win the compressor business, you will usually get the first crack at the other product groups within HVAC at that customer. So if you can win that compressor business, they're going to attempt to buy their dryer from you, their expansion valve. And if we're competitive and you all know what you're doing in the field as far as how to present the product line, you will have the first right of refusal, if you will, of winning that opportunity with that prospect or with that customer. So again, compressors drag other parts off the shelf. So what do we want to do? We want you all really learning about compressors. Develop a compressor strategy. Again, if we can win that compressor business, then it'll pull some other product lines off the shelf within the line. So let's talk about three main, not all, but main compressor types. Here we have TCCI. You guys would also know them potentially as Q on Navistar side. But this is the upright, York upright, TCCI. It's been around for ages, okay? That's still a common mover. It's a dying breed, but it's out there, and a lot of you all have seen them, and you're very well aware of the upright compressor. Then you've got your very common Sandin compressor, tried and true, been around for a long time, very high quality, very good compressor, and it's on a majority of the trucks rolling down the road. Then you have seen this one too that's really become popular in recent years is the Denso compressor. You'll see that a lot on Freightliner Cascadias. All of them look very different. All of them have different applications, but definitely your more common OE manufacturers. I want to show this slide. It really shows a general market share when it comes to these OEs. So Daimler about, give or take, 41% market share. PACCAR about 25%. Volvo about 13%, and Navistar 21%. And then what you'll see off to the outside of this pie chart are the OE compressor supplier to that OE manufacturer. So we look at Daimler. The primary supplier as far as compressors goes on Freightliners is Denso. Now that will transition here in the coming years. I'll show that in the coming slide, but Denso for Daimler. If you look at Sandin, you see PACCAR, Sandin supplies and is on a lot of those applications as they come off the assembly line. Volvo also uses Sandin. And then Navistar has made a little bit of a change some years ago from Sandin to what we will see on the vehicle called a Q-Brain, QUE. That is a offshore compressor made for Navistar, okay? And that would be TCCI behind that. But we want to get you guys familiar with the different compressor manufacturers out there and what's popular. Let's look at a specific example. Let's look at Freightliner. So back in the 90s, they were using that upright. Same thing in the late 90s. They were still using the upright compressor. In 2001, they started going to the Sandin compressor. And that really stretched all of their trucks come off the assembly line until they got to 2010. They actually switched over. So like on the Cascadia, all right, you would see that go from a Denso, from a Sandin to a Denso in 2010. Now what you're going to see on these trucks now coming off the assembly line, you're going to see them go to a Celtec. So on their 2020 model Cascadias, we will have to add a picture in here of a Celtec compressor. So they've made another change. As you can see though, These OEs make progressions in their compressors as time goes on. So again, I brought up the term, we're in a world of convenience here. So we want you guys to use an all makes approach to your business. Okay, so what we want you guys doing is really targeting your business. Okay, now more than ever in these changing times, we're having to do a lot remotely, right? We're having to do phone calls, we're having to do webinars, and everyone knows this may be here to stay for a while. Or at the very least, it's changed a little bit of how we do business moving forward as a whole. So what we really want you guys doing is focusing on a targeted approach. We don't need, or your customers don't want to sit there and see, a 700-page HVAC catalog promoted to them. They won't go through it, right? Just like external threats of e-commerce. What can they not provide? Well, what they cannot provide and you can is really a targeted approach where you guys can go out there, gather the data for your customer within their own fleet, find out the year, make, model, and exactly what parts they need, and go in there with a detailed quote of only those parts that they utilize currently. If you can provide your customers with that data, you've done something that makes their job a heck of a lot easier, and that's a convenience factor, and that's going to be huge as we move forward, especially as we do things remotely by webinar and conference calls. We want to get right down to the meat and potatoes, okay? And so we want you guys to target, quote, win your opportunity, and then maintain specific inventory for those opportunities, and then get to the reorder stage, okay? And that will allow you guys to build your HVAC lines from the ground up. It'll allow you guys to really, again, go after it as a targeted approach. We're not playing darts blindfolded. That's not going to do any of us good. We really want you guys focusing on your opportunities, gathering the data, and moving forward and winning those opportunities because you have that specific data. So here's some tools I would challenge you guys. Log on to your MEI websites accordingly, okay? And really step one is a general introduction to your market, all right? We have what we call all make single page bestseller flyers, okay? We even have a one-page, what I call kind of a quick hitter. It has just a popular parts listed for certain OEs and allows you guys in the field to print those files, go to market, and generate some interest. Okay, we have the bestsellers broken down by each OEM, which shows the popular parts for 2020 for each OEM. Great tool as a salesman. Go to market with these, okay? Generate some interest and some buzz, pique some people's interest. Step two is target by make. So when you can go in there and you use those bestsellers I talk about, and if you have a fleet that uses Freightliner trucks, print off the Freightliner fast mover flyer and take that in there. And I guarantee you that fleet manager or that shop manager, whomever it might be, will recognize a lot of those parts that you all have access to. And then number three, let's direct the customer target by truck. So we have a application feature within our websites for you guys that allows you guys to go by year, make, model. You can go through there and you can identify what parts we have available for those year, make, model opportunities. Okay, and it really allows you all, if you know your customer has a 2017 Freightliner Cascade, you can click that criteria. It'll show you an offering of what we have available for that year, make, model. You take that in there to your customer, your fleet customer, and it's a targeted approach. Step four is, again, a continuation. So what we want to do is use that application information, pull the part specific for that application, and put it into another online tool we have called a fleet list. And it allows you guys to drop in the part number and a price that you guys would like to quote. And it allows you guys to generate your own sales and marketing flyers with those part numbers, those pictures from our database, and allows you salesmen to really have a targeted approach again when you go to your customers. So we have a fleet survey where you can handwrite in the brand, the model, how many are in the fleet, and we can assist you guys in dropping in the parts for those applications. Then we have a fleet list that allows you to take that information and put it into a sales flyer. And it's a really high quality marketing tool that we offer, and I really recommend any outside salesman or any of you parts managers that or principals that here are on the call, really challenge your team to utilize these tools out in the marketplace. Really will help you all make an impact. So again, we want to have a targeted approach. So when you see a fleet that may have many different years, different models, this happens to be Freightliner fleet. If we can identify the model, we can identify the part with that application search. Really, it's just as simple as a click of a button and gathering data. So when we look at a Cascadia, let's say, we can really drill down to one part number. So for this year, one of the part numbers that's going to be really popular for you all is if you have Freightliner Cascadias and a good amount of it in your marketplaces, most do, all right, you want to look at this Denso 10S15C, the OE number 22-65771-000. Okay, this is a very, very popular compressor. Cascadias had 3 different Densos on Cascadias throughout the recent years. This one is the most popular of the 3. Okay, you might have a different clutch size that would make up the other Denso part numbers, but this one right here in particular is the most common. We will have those OE Densos, and we will also have aftermarket option for these as well. You'll have multiple options to go after this business in your marketplace. So really, utilize the online tools we discussed. It'll allow you to find the parts you need and find them accurately and very quickly. One, we have the cross-reference feature. The customer has a part number. You guys can utilize that to identify the MEI number. Number 2 is a parts lookup or an application search. If they do not have a part number, but they know the year, make, model of the truck, that tool will allow you to identify the exact part you need. The third is a new tool we've offered. It's called the ECAT. All right, you utilize it. You utilize product attributes. You click the product attributes and you filter down along the way to identify the exact part you need. Very handy when you don't have a part number, but you have a part in front of you. And then the last tool I really want to present is our customer service team. Very knowledgeable, very good. So if you guys need assistance there identifying parts, please don't hesitate to reach out to us. One of the last things I want to wrap up today with is a technical resource website. I know Nikki has mentioned some of this information is available to you all through the HDA website, but I want to also stress to you guys that we have what we call Tech Air Connect. It's techairconnect.com. The password is connect, all lowercase. All right. A lot of us now are driven by videos, whether it's YouTube videos or however you all are comfortable learning about things. So we've taken that mindset. We've got multiple YouTube videos that explain both, AC 101, our entire training class is broken down into 4 different pieces. We also break it down by certain criteria, certain specifics, like if you just want to learn about dryers or compressors or certain components, you can do that as well and click a shortened video. This is a great tool for you all to log in and utilize. I highly recommend it, and the password is connect. All right, so in closing, guys, really, identify your new accounts, identify the potential new accounts, gather the information from those accounts so we can determine their needs, create a value proposition, and utilize our online tools to really drill down and identify the exact parts within our program that we can present to your customers. And then ask for the business. Continue to do that, guys. Please continue to do that. And I think you guys will have a lot of success out there. So thank you all very much for attending today. Very much appreciated, and please know MEI now has 3 warehouses, one in Peachtree City, Georgia, outside of Atlanta, one in Dallas, and one in Reno, Nevada for the West Coast. So in these changing times, MEI, we're constantly looking at how we can better support you all. Again, you all are very important to us, and as we go through these changing times, just know we're here to support you. We thank you all, and please be safe out there.
Thank you so much, Scott. I want to make a couple quick announcements before we get into questions. Again, remind you guys that you are on mute, so please use that chat button or the Q&A button inside of Zoom to ask any questions. Also, that this session was recorded, so we will post this to our HDA Truck Pride University within 24 hours. You'll also find inside the university the AC 101 through 104 classes that Scott talked about are loaded to the university along with the tests that go with those. So you can take a couple minutes on each section and you get credit inside the university for completing those tests. So AC 101 through 104, those 4 classes along with the tests that go with them have been loaded to the university. Also want to remind you guys that the MEI technical webinar has already happened. 2 weeks ago on Monday, we did that webinar, and so that one has been loaded to the university as well. So it will join, this sales presentation will join that one as we get it loaded within the next 24 hours. Scott, thank you so much for the time today. We did not have any questions that came through, so I want to thank everybody for your attendance, and we'll see you back here at 3 p.m. for a technical presentation from Dana. Thanks, Scott. You guys have a great day.
Thank you.